All right, thank you so much for that. And Neil Vanoy is here to talk smart money. Neil, we appreciate you being here each and every week. You're a certified financial planner, which remain licensed. You're always working on it, aren't you?
Yes.
Working hard. Okay, now here's something that could walk into your office. We're talking today mistakes that couples make, not individuals.
Yes.
Do you find it harder to work with couples sometimes?
I enjoy working with couples,
Okay.
but there are some challenges.
All right, as long as I don't fight in front of you. Mistake number one, you say the couples make is just not communicating when it comes to money, huh?
Communication is important in a relationship, and poor communication is often to blame for many of the money problems that couples face. It's important to be able to talk openly with each other about your finances, especially if you have different opinions about saving and spending.
All right, mistake number two, it doesn't always work just to have it in your head like I like to do, not having a budget. You got to put it down on paper, don't you?
Often couples encounter problems when one of them likes to budget and the other person avoids it like the plague. And so what I've told couples is it might be better to avoid that term budget and think of the process as putting together a spending plan, because a lot of people find it's more fun to spend than it is to save. And at the very least, couples will need to decide how they'll handle paying bills and expenses for shopping like entertainment. Just talk about it.
Okay, mistake number three, keeping secrets. Now, we all keep little white secrets possibly from our spouse or loved ones or girlfriends, but this can add up, can't it?
Yes, it can. You know, keeping a secret about a surprise birthday party is great. Keeping a secret about your spending habits can only lead to trouble, especially if they're big problems. If you find yourself hiding excessive spending or debt in your relationship, you should go back to mistake number one that we talked about on the list, communicating. Talk.
Okay, very good. Mistake number five, one person handling all the money. Why? This can go wrong, can't it?
Yes, and obviously it's a problem if the person handling the money isn't good at it and spending the couple into financial black hole, but it can also be a problem if one were to become incapacitated or to pass away. It's not easy to learn how to handle household finances when you're dealing with emotions associated with a traumatic situation.
Plus, maybe you just haven't done it. It might be complicated. You don't have the roadmap that person has laid out there.
And you add in those emotions from a loss, and it can be tough.
Yeah, that's a bad recipe right there. Okay. Tip number five here, you say, or problem number five, mistake, just not getting help.
Yes, and you were asking if it's harder to work with couples or individuals. Well, sometimes I do feel like a money therapist when I work with couples,
Right.
especially when a husband and wife have different opinions about saving and spending. And getting that extra guidance from an impartial third party like a CPA or fee-only advisor that works by the hour, it can be beneficial from couples that don't see eye to eye. Just have a neutral third party, kind of not taking sides but working out differences.
Okay, terrific. A reminder, if you have something that you'd like to ask Neil Vanoy, we'd love to hear from you. Here's the contact information right there on the screen. Look at Neil, all the credentials you've got and everything. We barely have room for it on the graphic. I love it. You've done such a great job for us over the years. We do appreciate it. You're going to be back next Monday to talk about assets and liabilities and how important that is for families.
That's excellent.
Okay. It is indeed time to talk a little smart money. Neil Vanoy, our certified financial planner for the past many years. What, 6 years now, Neil? This is awesome.
I believe so.
We're in year number 6. We're so glad to have you here. And this is something really good today. We got a lot of spring weddings coming up.
Yep.
Our topic today is questions to ask before getting married.
Yes.
They've already asked the question of, will you? Yes, we will. Okay, so question number one, what are our assets and liabilities as a couple?
Yes, this is the first step, and it's to create a personal balance sheet that details your assets and liabilities, which each of you own and owe, to see where each of you stands financially and what the picture would look like combined. Full disclosure is important if you want to avoid financial surprises down the road.
Okay, question number two. How will we be handling our existing debt? Have you heard these kids? They're coming out of college with a lot of student loan debt.
They are. And you want to determine how you'll handle any of that existing debt, especially unsecured debt like credit cards. Decide whether you'll pay it off before you say I do or carry it into the marriage. If you bring it into the marriage, be sure to keep the other person's name off of those obligations to avoid possible problems in the future.
Right.
Try to keep those separate.
Especially if you own property or something like that that
Yes.
could be seized or somebody could go after. Okay, question number three. What do our credit reports look like?
As we've discussed before, credit scores will affect everything you do, so you should review your credit reports and scores to see where each of you stand. And you can go to annualcreditreport.com like I did last week to check my credit reports.
Okay.
You can get a free credit report from each of the bureaus, but you will have to pay to see the scores. If you want to see an approximation of your score, creditkarma.com. You can get a free estimate.
Okay, very good. All right, question number four. How will we handle daily spending decisions? In my opinion, this leads to more divorce than anything. Now, this is the one.
Yes. You don't necessarily have to set a budget on paper written, but you do need to decide how you will handle those daily spending decisions. Communication is key, and especially if one or both of you tend to be a spender. If one's a saver, one's a spender, that's problematic. If you don't see eye to eye on spending, then it does sometimes make sense to have a joint account for bills, but then separate accounts for discretionary spending like entertainment and shopping.
Okay, this one's very important as well for the long term. Question 5, what are our financial goals? If someone wants to leave no money to their kids, spend it all and live it up, and the other one wants to leave $1 million, boy, we have a difference of opinion here, don't we?
It does, and it's just as important as those day-to-day financial decisions. You do need to discuss those future financial goals like college expenses for children and retirement to make sure you're in agreement.
Okay.
It's, comes back to communication.
All right, communication. And if anybody needs your help, that's what you do. You work a lot of times with, especially young couples and then older
Yes.
couples who are getting money together. So you could always help them out. A reminder, if you have a question for Neil Vinoy, here's the contact information on the screen. Neil, we are getting into that wedding season, so this one was right on point today. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure as always.
All right, we'll visit with you again next Monday. Let's talk a little smart money. Neil Vinoy is here right now. He's a certified financial planner, of course. Neil, we're so glad that you're here. Thank you for spending some time with us, and you're going to educate us on something new today.
Yes, something new.
All right, it's called the ABLE Act. Let's start off with, what is the ABLE Act?
Well, the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, or ABLE Act for short, is legislation that was passed at the end of 2014. It creates tax-free savings accounts known as 529 ABLE accounts that are designed to help families with disabled children save for the future.
Okay, very good. Now, how will using a 529 ABLE account be different than just saving, let's say, a normal savings account?
It's a good question. Disabled individuals risk losing eligibility for government programs if they have over $2,000 in assets. Families can often set up special needs trusts to get around this limit, but that process is complex and can be expensive. The 529 ABLE accounts will allow beneficiaries to open a simple account and have up to $100,000 saved without losing their government-provided benefits. And a second, which is a huge benefit, is that the money in those accounts will grow tax-free, and withdrawals are tax-free if used to cover qualified expenses.
Boy, that'll be a
child.
big break then, yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so what types of expenses then are considered qualified?
Eligible expenses include things like education, including employment training and support, as well as housing, transportation, personal support services, legal and financial management fees, and many other expenses. A lot of them.
Now, this isn't for everybody. What are the eligibility requirements to establish a 529 ABLE account?
Individuals that have been diagnosed with a qualified disability before the age of 26 are eligible to have a 529 ABLE account, and the account can be open regardless of their current age. And future regulations will give guidance about the types of disabilities that qualify someone to establish the 529 ABLE account, but it will include physical, mental, and developmental impairments, as well as mental illnesses.
Okay, I'm sure we have some viewers right now that are wondering where can they go to learn more information or to educate themselves on this.
Well, viewers can go to autismspeaks.org for articles about 529 ABLE accounts, and a lot of information can be found just by searching online just for the 529 ABLE account. The U.S. Department of Treasury is still establishing the rules that are going to govern these types of accounts, so I'd expect to see more articles and more information later on throughout the year.
Okay, very cool, Neil. Thank you for being here. A reminder, if you'd like to contact Neil Vinoy, the contact information is conveniently listed there on your screen, and you are not taking any questions about your beard and how awesome it is and how you're growing it, right?
No beard questions.
Yeah.
Other questions, though?
All
Yes.
professional money questions at this point. Neil, thanks for being here. Next week, we're going to talk about top retirement plan mistakes. This affects almost everybody in the working force, so important topic.
It is.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Of course, it is Monday. That means we talk a little smart money with certified financial planner Neil Vinoy, who's a contributor to the book, Investing in an Uncertain Economy for Dummies. And the economy's been pretty uncertain, Neil, for the last 6 or 7 years. But there's one thing that's been stable. That is retirement plans. Whether they go up or down,
Yes.
we should be contributing and taking advantage, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's talk about mistake number one that people make. Sometimes we're talking about mistakes today, not enrolling. You're not getting a free bite at the apple here.
Absolutely. And around 30% of eligible employees don't enroll in their company's retirement plan. And for workers under age 35, that's around 50% that don't participate. And although there are some pretty bad plans out there, the tax benefits and that company match almost always make it beneficial to enroll.
As I say, mistake number two, not contributing enough. You got to have enough to live on, but you got to make sure that you're giving what the company's giving away, right?
Yes, and first, many employees don't contribute enough even to get that entire match. You mentioned what the company's giving away, and turning down free money isn't a good idea. And second, not contributing much means missing out on the great tax benefits offered by 401ks and similar retirement plans.
Okay. Of course, how about mistake number three here, taking too much risk?
Many participants in those plans invest too much of their account balances in stock funds, and this mistake becomes more dangerous the older we get. While stocks do provide a higher return potential, as we've talked about many times, there is no guarantee, so don't take on more risk than necessary to meet that retirement goal.
All right, this makes me laugh here. Mistake number 4, we're kind of in that Goldilocks zone, not taking enough risk.
Yes, opposite end of the spectrum. Some participants are so fearful of the stock market that they avoid stocks completely in favor of the stable value funds and bond funds in their plan. While these plans aren't volatile like the stock funds, they might not offer the return you'll need long term.
Okay, mistake number 5, you say borrowing from your retirement plan. We should not be treating this as it's an emergency fund. Huh?
Correct. Many argue that the interest rate you'll pay on this type of loan is low, and after all, you do pay it to yourself, but it's usually much lower than the potential return you could earn on those investments if you had left them alone, left the money in there. And second, if you lose your job, that loan becomes due immediately.
Okay, tricky there. Yeah, you could get caught on that one. Okay, mistake number 6, cashing out when changing jobs. What was the point of saving for it all then, right?
Absolutely. When you cash out on that retirement plan, not only will you pay income taxes, but you could also owe 10% as a penalty depending on your age if you're under 59 and a half. A better option would be to roll that money into a new employer's retirement plan or to an IRA. Just keep it in some type of tax-favored vehicle.
Okay, awesome. Neil and his beard are here every Monday for our Smart Money segment. Come back and watch it grow. It's really looking good, Neil. It's really going.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
Yeah, here's the contact information on the screen. If you enjoy talking to Neil or you just have some questions that you'd like us to tackle or topics on Smart Money segment, next week we're going to talk about rules for financial success. We got the perfect guy to discuss it with. Neil, always thank you for your wit and wisdom. We enjoy having you. Thank you.
See you next week.
All right.